Áttérnék az első nemzetközi projektre, miért is fontos nekünk, hogy részt vettünk egyesületként, hát nem csak Európai Uniós, hanem még szélesebb együttműködésben.
And now let's start with the European project that we are involved in. Should I translate? No, you do.
And now I will switch into English. I hope it's okay. Hogy rendben van, ugye, hogyha most már nem fordítgatunk, hanem csak angol. Tehát az első projekt, amit szeretnék bemutatni, az a The Ball program, és ennek kapcsán Nagy Csillát szeretném szintén így a színpadra hívni, aki, azt mondtam, hogy angolul beszélek, ugye? Okay. Aki most már ezt befejezem, aki az L1 rezidensünkből L1 taggá vált, so she is Csilla Nagy, who is one of our member and used to be our resident artist, and she is here now to show you a work in progress film, and she will talk about it later on. So let's watch the film first, and then she will make an introduction.
I'm afraid of the death actually. I'm afraid that my happiness won't stop. I'm afraid of my next baby. I'm afraid of my mom's death. My father's death. I'm afraid of the plane falling back. I'm afraid of getting stuck in Hungary. I'm afraid of the question, where is joy? I'm afraid of not laughing enough. 1-2. So I was very excited to watch it. So about the video, it was recorded in April this year because I wanted to apply for this festival called Wall in Berlin, and actually it was a rehearsal recorded by my colleague, and there were sort of things that no cut, no zoom in, no zoom out, no editing, so like really very simple. So that's why the video itself was really basic. And the piece, it was like a very old idea, like many years ago. I worked with a company called Artus, and during the creative process we were some topics, and I started to develop something with these little things, and then in the end this scene was not in the final piece. So after I think 5 or 6 years ago I remember this little thing, and I wanted to develop it further. And in the last 2 weeks I started to rework on it, because I'm not very, how to say, I'm still searching for things, especially in the second part. The first part, I call it the break. The frog is doing breakdowns. I have really cool tricks now. I learned many tricks from break dancers, so I'm getting on tricks. So I'm putting more and more things on handstand and really weird tricks. And the second part, when I'm opening in space, it was a simple improvisation, and I'm working on the thing, how to approach the things with different presents and how to work with them. Like, as a beginning, they representing fears, like I have them. So yes, in the beginning I'm taking them, and the second part I would like to play with them, like if it's an opportunity or chance, how can I do it with my whole physicality? Like, yeah, it was the second part more like this, and now I'm working with how to approach them, how to play with them, and how to collect them, like different ways, qualities, with more freedom and playfulness. And I will have a short performance in Berlin in the end, if I can. May I pronounce this? I don't know if it's official. I think
it's officially, but is there anybody from here from the Bakelit side? No, because Csaba is the artistic director of Bakelit, and they are organizing an event in Berlin in December.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And so what happened, I applied for this wall in Berlin, but I was not selected. And now there will be a Hungarian festival in Berlin, and in the end I can participate with my piece and I can develop it further. So I hope in December it will be the piece as I wish to be. Yes, so that's all.
I don't know, do you have any questions or remarks or what you have seen? It's up to you, it's not a force.
I have a personal one, because I was very much touched the first part when you were eating these balls, and each ball was symbolizing a fear, and for me it was a real fear, because I would be terribly afraid to put balls like this in my mouth. And I'm curious if you all really have this fear to put these balls in your mouth, if it was connected, related to put the balls in the mouth, and then you were calling these fears in your life.
Actually, I think I didn't have the fear to put them and dance with them. Later I realized what I do. I'm dancing with this in my mouth. Actually, it's quite dangerous. And when I practiced at home, and I have a child, and she sees me putting this, I realize how dangerous what I'm doing. So I started to rehearse in the dance room and not showing her what I'm doing, because it's actually can make you like having fear. Yeah, good question. Okay.
I just wanted to ask you, because for me that's why it was very strong, this idea. Yeah.
No, I hope I won't have fear later. No, I hope I won't. Yeah, yes. I hope I can make it without any problem. Yes.
The newcomer.
There is a very strong shift for me from the first part to the second part. The first part feels somewhat realistic, like even practical, and then something very, like it's almost like a cut that I cannot even tell when. All of a sudden, it's abstract. And I'm curious about it. Is it like a decision? This, I don't know if you share, if you have a sense of yourself of what I perceived, but something is very realistic for me in the first part. That I can, it's vivid. I touch it. And then the second part, it goes into something abstract, and it's really interesting. It's like almost a completely different state of mind and zone, and it's like a cut. And then I'm curious about it. Like this is what I felt in my mind when I watched it. All of a sudden, was this shift. So I'm just curious about it.
I'm happy to hear this, because originally it was my decision to be like super realistic and then change into something, but it's still a question how sharp it should be, the change. So when I'm turning back and going to school, I'm starting to imagine I'm really swallowing this and how my body transfers and how I become the body of fears. But I also wanted to keep it like a secret, or just a sudden change, like, okay, there is a sort of animal kind. But I'm also working on the presence that I'm in the beginning more like full of fear and transferring into like starting to enjoy the state what I'm at. So okay, now I'm a frog, so what can I do with this? It's a kind of what I was in my mind at the play of Kafka, you know, this bag when you, in the morning you get up and you become a bag, and so then what can I do? Okay, I have 6 or 8 legs, I don't know, 6, so what can I do with 6 legs? So kind of it was in my mind. Dramaturgically I wanted to have a sharp, but maybe later the presence of the frog maybe should be, I don't know, changed like little by little. I don't know if it's an answer of your question.
It was more a remark to what I experienced. I was interested to. I can also say that if the wall magnetized me.
Sorry?
The walls, the wall of the studio, the word fear, for me also it's like you want to be glued to a wall from what you would, and also a remark that the empty studio, the walls suck you like and you, mainly in the, this is what I'm saying about the abstract, because it's you're more in the center of the studio, in the space, and the wall is like the shape of the fear of this frame. I don't know, things that came up to me. That's it.
Yeah, maybe because the camera was quite high and I'm down, so it's also the aspect from up going down, and the wall become bigger and you're smaller, so somehow the vision also supports this feeling.
She will stay a little bit, but her little girl is waiting for her, so if you will have any more comments, then feel free to find her, but I will continue now. not to lose the time, with this wall project, which is actually an international cooperation, but the main organizer is Lucky Trimmer Festival. I don't know if you have heard about them. Berlin-based organization, and actually they found 4 partners, also from Jerusalem, Orsolya is included. And the main idea was that there was an open call for artists to create a new piece, maximum of 10 minutes long, using the theme, the topic of the wall. And of course, as Hungary is with the Iron Curtain, and Greece, and Jerusalem, and Berlin, of course, everybody could make a kind of input. And there were around 200 applicants, and the jury chose 8 of them, and they will have a premiere in Berlin this autumn. So this was the project. And actually the other project with Bakelit, with this venue, it is also about the wall. So people are working with this topic now. And the second project in which we are involved is Performing V4, which is a pilot program. It's especially for the Visegrad countries, which is Slovakia, Czech Republic, Poland, and Hungary. There is a cooperation through Visegrad Fund, International Visegrad Fund, and almost 3 years ago they announced a special program for these artists coming from these Visegrad countries, especially for the performing artists. And me personally and Adam Association is the Hungarian monitoring partner of this. And the 4 monitoring partners decided to somehow sum up the results of the residencies. And this biennial would be the first step to make it happen, which we organize in Prague next year, so 2015, in February. And this is a nice logo for the project, and I want to mention who is the designer, because the designer is the same as our booklet for the festival. And her name is Anna Kolovsky. And now the third project is I Am, which is Identity Move. And I would like to introduce you 2 main organizers of the event. Please, Ewan and Georg, come on stage. And they will introduce you another huge international project. And we also have an artist of this project, Georgia. And we miss the Hungarian artist because he is very busy in Denmark. But I give you the microphone and just...
Okay, first of all, we are struggling with technology, like always. It works. Does it? Yeah. Okay. So to make you distinguish the 2 of us, this is my friend and colleague Hugh McLaren, artistic director of Theatre Alfred with the job Boże in Prague. Oh, I hate this.
That's okay, I have my own microphone. And this is Georg Blockmann. He's the not the artistic director, but the director in general of the Goethe Institute in Warsaw.
I'm not dealing with art at all. Only from time to time thinking of assembling people to do something to face, let's say, the future. So one of these things that came up 2 years ago was the idea of working in the field of dance in Central, East and South Europe. One of the reasons why it came up was that I moved to Poland from Israel, which is present here as well. So I come from a country where dance is very much in focus as an art form and very popular and highly appreciated in the country and in the rest of the world. Now coming to Central Europe, I saw I realized the weakness of especially contemporary dance, the weakness of the scene, the weakness of the structure, a lack of audience, a lack of educational institutions. I was not the only one to do so. Currently, there are quite a number of networks working in the field of dance here. Quite a lot of initiatives in all the countries, which you see on this wonderful map above. This is what we call the Eastern Belt of the European Union, related to the belts, the agricultural belts in the United States. You remember maybe from your geography lessons in school that there is a corn belt and a cow belt and
Bible belt.
Bible belt, not to forget about the Bible belt. So this is the Eastern Belt of the European Union, new geopolitical structure. These countries are in a way united from north to south by the weakness of the contemporary dance structure. And we thought of, together with Polish friends, then spreading around the news, and in the end with the friends in the region, to create something that encourages young artists to think about themselves. Different than what, for example, Marta just explained with the ball. There is quite some funding, but all this funding is always focusing on production. So an artist gets €2,000, and they say, so in 6 months we're presenting a 10-minute piece somewhere. Who has time to reflect without producing something? An idea. The idea behind it, art is not a car factory. You can't produce an art piece like you can produce a Mercedes car. You can put money in the beginning, and then after half a year there is an output. So creating a platform which is open. We created this platform, fortunately, with the help of our wonderful friends in Brussels, the European Union, which gave us quite a reasonable amount of money. Some other partners contributed themselves. The main partners are the consortium of partners in Prague, which consists of 4 partners.
There's 5.
A side effect is that for the first time in history, all the 5 contemporary art partners in Prague are sitting around the same table and are organizing and are focusing on the same project, which, if I trust your words, never happened before. So these are one of the partners. The other one is a Polish partner, Centrum Kultury w Lublinie. Lublin is an eastern Polish city close to the border of Ukraine. Where they have a very vivid cultural center, which is also the home of EPUB, Eastern European Performing Arts Platform, which we could link to easily, and they gathered all the information already, so we didn't have to start from scratch while looking for partners. And the 4th one is Greece, State School of Dance, which is a little bit different than the other ones, as it's really a state school of dance, but they were open enough to, despite that they are completely focused on Martha Graham technique, and they are teaching Martha Graham technique, have been teaching it for the last 40 years, they were open to do some experiment. Now these are the four main partners which also put money in it. Then we searched for partners in all these countries, which you see over there, and we found some. They are all very different because the dance initiatives in all these countries are differently structured. Now it's 15 partners, yeah?
There's 15 participating countries.
14 participating countries, smaller ones and bigger ones, and one of our most important and active partner, of course, is L1, and that's why, no, don't laugh about it, it's really like that. One of these organizations, which is typical for the dance structure here in the region, very small, very weak, and weak in financing, but very strong in their enthusiasm and never stopping to work on it. So this is what gives a special sense to working in the field of dance here in this region. I don't want to mention all of them. We have this wonderful booklet where you can find all the necessary information. We have an exciting website. Which you find if you put this magnet on your fridge. And this is also our logo, which is now I Am. You might ask yourself why we choose this banal title of Identity Move. Who the hell wants to talk about identity in the second decade of the 21st century? But it depends on how you define that and how you don't define that. For example, just to give you an example, what identity means with regard to dance activities and dance practice here in Central or Southeastern Europe. There is a reason why Ausdruckstanz and modern dance in the beginning of the last century became very strongly rooted in Germany. The reason for that is that the German theater tradition is extremely rational. From Lessing up to Brecht. You might not know Lessing, but you know Brecht, yeah? It's like teaching. Everything is intellectual, nothing is emotional. I have to teach something rationally to the audience. But there's a need of expression. That's why this expressionist Ausdruckstanz came up, and that's why dance developed in Germany in the way it developed. So our idea, for example, for Poland is why are Grotowski and Cantor keep us from dancing? So this is a kind of search for identity. What is our own reason to dance? And to show that dance is an independent form of art and also a locally rooted form of art. Yeah, our Israeli friends will stress that. Yeah, there is a reason why dance is so strong in Israel, as it is in Germany. So it has a very complicated structure. In the center of all are 24 artists. 24 artists. Who, after a long process of looking for them, this summer went to residencies. Now, Ewan will talk about the artists, the 24 artists, which we are working together and which are the center of our project.
So our group of curators, thanks to the participation of our associated partners, received the applications of more than 50 possible artists to choose from. If you can please the next one, Jolt. So they are working in artistic pairs. In many cases, this is one dance artist, a choreographer or dancer working with a partner who may not be a dance artist. In this case, this is Agata Maszkiewicz, who some may remember because she performed here 2 years ago at the L1 Dance Festival, and Albena Bajeva, Agata from Poland, Albena from Bulgaria, and they're working together right now in Greece as we speak. They just started yesterday. Each of the artists has a 3 to 4 week residency in either Athens, Prague, 3 to 6 week residency in either Prague, Athens, Poznan in Poland, or Essen in Germany. Next, please. This is Andis Geste, who from Latvia, and he's actually a psychotherapist and a former veterinarian, and he's working together with Christianis Sanz, a choreographer and dancer. The artists actually have time to research. The whole focus of the project is research. They are not expected to create a final performance. They are expected to research together, and if they choose to present the results of their research so far. It's quite unusual in that respect. As far as I know, it's maybe the only or one of 2 EU culture projects that has managed to allow this for artists working in the dance field. The next, please. So here we have Milan Markovic and Ana Dubljovic. They're both from Serbia, so there's also a non-EU country involved. Serbia. In this case, Milan is a dramaturg and playwright, working with Ana Dubljovic, who's a performer and choreographer. Next, please. Here we have Florian Fluras from Bucharest and Alina Popa. This is an example of a pair who already knew that they wanted to work together because they already have worked together. In some cases, people applied already as pairs, and in other cases, people applied as individuals willing to join with somebody else. In that case, we, the curators, had to choose who they would work with and in which city. Next, please. This is Agata Siniarska, and she was one of these who came forward and said, I'll work with somebody who you put me with. And she was working in Essen with Madalina Dan from Romania. Next, please. This is another pair that have worked together a lot. They're from Ljubljana. This is Lea Juricic and Teja Reba. Lea and Teja. Their very provocative pieces are loved or feared by Central European curators everywhere, but they have welcomed the opportunity to develop their work long-term and have some time for research. Next, please. Here we have Laszlo Philip, an L1 member, and he was working with Georgia Vuduri. Laszlo, as you know, is a dancer and choreographer. Georgia is an architect, and she also works in art installation projects and is an art installation curator. And they, in this case, worked also with a third partner. If you can go to the next slide, please. This is Ivana Gojmerac, one of our youngest artists from Sarajevo. Ivana and Halka Trzeszniakova from Prague were originally paired to work together, and they agreed after a while that they would work separately, which is fine, because we do not expect anyone to accept our decisions to put them together. We believe in artistic freedom.
Don't forget that.
Yes, I won't forget to say that Georgia Vuduri is here right now. She came all the way to see us all, and she's brought some of her research work from Poznan, which is here at the back of the room, and you can speak to her afterwards, or maybe even now. Yeah.
I think you should finish your...
Okay, we'll finish this first. Next, please. Here we have Jaro Viňarský from Slovakia and Petra Tinorova from Prague. So this is in fact a Czechoslovak couple who have agreed to work together. Petra Tinorova is in fact a theater director. Jaro Viňarský is a dancer and choreographer, and they've worked together before, but they've worked on theater pieces, and now they've agreed that now's the time for them to work on dance. They had a shorter but intense residency in Poznan. Next, please. And here we have Pavlos Kulturiatis and Ben Ripe. This is another pair who decided that they would work parallel to each other. They supported each other's work and commented on each other's work, but they aren't necessarily working on a shared concept. But each of them used their time in Prague to the max. Pavlos is a performance artist who has a background in dance, And Ben Rippe is a renowned, youngish but renowned German
choreographer from Germany.
He's an enfant terrible with a beard.
Yeah, and he's going to have a workshop here on Saturday, Saturday morning.
So we thought we'd show you the faces of the people involved, because we think that these projects, or these concepts that they're developing are going to grow. Some of these are going to become performances. Some of these are going to be contributing to the research in general that's going on in the performing arts in Central and Eastern and Southern Europe. And there's an opportunity to see all or many of these artists and hear about the concepts and their research in Prague from March 20th to 24th, 2015. It will be a big international event, a symposium, a festival, and it's called the Bazaar. So come to the Prague Bazaar in March.
Maybe you might consider this as a contradiction to what I explained. There is a final event. We have not the slightest idea how it will look like. So the residencies started in June in Prague, and the last one is just running in Athens. What the artists are doing is documented by themselves, not by third people, documented by themselves, and from the outcome we will conceive an event that will not be a performance. That is a place of exchange. The idea is, the word bazaar is to be taken as it is. It's a colorful place of communication and of interchange and of mutual influence. It's still a hard job that we have before us to create something which is an event and not an event. Just to, artists want to present what they are thinking about. Yeah, that's why they are artists. But just to stay in this, to keep this tension high, we are doing something concrete. But we are not forced to focus on the final applause in the premiere. Yeah, this is something that we consider, and we got this feedback from the artists during the lab. June took care of the Prague lab, and I did it in Essen, in Pakt Zollverein. This is the feedback we got from them. It's really they have time to think about, and they are continuing working about. And what we are doing here now, Georgia visiting L1 Festival as an architect, what would have never occurred in her mind 1 year ago, is something which is part of the game, just like making people intervene in spheres where they are not used to be. That's why the pairs are different.
So I've forgotten 2 pairs. I forgot. And these were the artists who were working with me in Prague, so it's very embarrassing. This is Nives Sertic above, and Sonja Pregrad below. Sonja lives and works in Berlin, but she comes from Zagreb. And Nives Sertic is, in fact, a video artist. They've worked together before, but they never had the time to research what they wanted to do. They worked for 4 weeks non-stop. They had 2 showings of what they're working on. Their work has gone very deep, and they already have produced a video based on their work. And Sonja, I didn't mention, is a choreographer and dancer. And then the last pair, which I think I forgot because of my pronunciation abilities with Lithuanian names, Agnia Sheiko and Ingrida Gerbutavičiūtė. Ingrida is in fact a dance writer. She's a critic. And thanks to the Identity Move program, Agnia, who's a choreographer, doing quite well now in Lithuania, and Ingrida realized that they wanted to work together, and that Ingrida was going to move from the world of the critic into the world of the dramaturg. we had great fun working with this pair as well. I didn't want to forget all the artists.
So that's it. Well, if you find time, or save the date, end of 22nd of
March 20th
March
to 24th, 2015
and
in Prague.
just be open to be surprised, if not stunned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? So you can look it all up here and go to the website or become our friend on Facebook.
That's right, on Facebook we keep a constant update on what's happening and what the artists are publishing and creating. The Identity Move Facebook page is one click away from me, so take a look.